제가 그때 시즌2 때부터 게임을 시작을 했는데 시즌3 롤드컵부터 그때부터 제가 경기를 보기 시작한 것 같아요. 배운 게 좀 많았어요. 그리고 제 자신도 나중에 철없게 할 수 있다 그렇게 믿고 있었죠.
약간 신인이긴 한데 쉽게 중국에서 뛰던 온 선수고 처음엔 잘한 거 보여줘도 이게 얼마나 유지되냐 그게 문제이기 때문에 이번 시즌 끝나야 할 것 같아요. 솔직히 뭐 지금 포스로는 탑3라고 말할 수 있겠죠.
존경하는 선수죠. 되게 힘들 것 같아요.
그냥 저라고 쫄지 말고 솔직히 안 쫄 것 같긴 한데 쫄지 말고 그냥 평소대로 하던 대로 하면 될 것 같아요. 자기 실력대로.
아무래도 임팩트 형이 저보다 경험이 많고 경력도 많기 때문에 좀 배울 게 많다고 생각을 해요. 노련함 같은 거를 좀 경기에서 좀 뺏어가려고 해요.
Welcome one and all to the North American LCS. Here in Hollywood, fans are feeling the hype for a Sunday full of flashes and dashes, TPs and team fights, barons and brawls, all as our teams battle to be the best in the region. Well, the teams are getting set up as we speak. Santorin here prepping to go up against his former team in TSM. On the other side, setting up, here's Hanser and the Monster getting ready to face off against Quas in the top lane. That should be an exciting matchup. Over in the theater, though, Xpecial is readying up with his fellow bot lane partner, Apollo. They're going to be facing off against Smoothie, who's on support for Cloud9 in Game 1, as they always keep us guessing with who's playing what in terms of that support positioning there. Hello, everyone, LCS super fans, and a very happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I'm your host, James Patterson, and joining me again today are these two sharply dressed men, Mark Zimmerman and Alberto Crumzargifo. Did you guys give your fathers a call?
Yep, gave him a call about a half hour ago.
Nicely done. Mark, what about you?
I will do that as soon as I can.
Putting it off. Just gonna keep.
Oh, yeah.
If he's watching, he knows I will call.
All right, there it is.
Video evidence now.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, defending champs Counterlogic Gaming, they did have a rough start to the spring split, but could be starting to bounce back after returning to their roots and closing out Echo Fox 2-0 in quick fashion yesterday.
Oh yeah, I think this was one of the most interesting things was seeing Darshan back on Jax. He had a really dominant performance in both games, really opening up the map for his team. And this is the kind of performance we're going to want to see again today. This is probably the most interesting match that we're going to see, so we want to see this kind of resurging CLG.
So while they did look good macro, I'm taking this game with a grain of salt because Echo Fox just didn't really seem to try anything at all during that game and just rolled over. So it looks really good because CLG is at least making strides and getting back in form, but they're going to be up against a good opponent now that is going to actually, put them to the test in terms of not just their mechanics, but just their macro overall, because Envy has shown to be a team that focuses more on the team play as opposed to the individual.
Yeah, some of the fastest games of the split yesterday put up by CLG. Of course, their opponent today in Team Envy suffered their first loss yesterday against Immortals. But even in those losses, they looked pretty good.
The thing that surprised me the most was the fact that they fell behind early but still managed to make plays. I think that's the hallmark of like a team that knows what they're doing, is that they don't rely on some early game lead that then snowballs them to success, that they can actually go out and find their own plays. So I expect them to really challenge CLG, even if CLG uses their lane swap to get ahead early.
The only concern I have for Envy coming in is Ninja's positioning. Time after time again, he's been put in positions where he's basically costing the team the game. If he just dials it back a little bit, I'm sure that Envy can just win as a whole, but we don't need to be making any individual plays in this game anymore. So every time that he's leaving his team behind by trying to make a play on his own, it's resulting in a very poor game. And
Game 1 was essentially lost off of a misposition from Ninja.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they can clean that kind of stuff up, both those games were very winnable yesterday. Now, something to keep in mind is the fact that they as a team do play these super long games. You contrast that with the fact that CLG played some of the fastest games we've seen all split just yesterday. How do we expect this to clash? Do we think Envy's ability to extend games will still be workable against the likes of CLG?
It'll be interesting. I'm not 100% sure because CLG traditionally were a team that was super good in the late game. In their run to the finals and winning that last split, we saw them take a number of super late game team fights and make some good macro decisions that won them those games.
Right.
But in this season or this split, it doesn't look like that team at all. So you know, Envy is going to really push them to that late game situation. We'll see if they still have that kind of talent.
All right. Well,
I don't think a team being a team that focuses heavily on the late game and mid game makes them necessarily a worse team than somebody that can push the tempo early, as long as you can hold on to the game. And Envy has shown that they can do that, especially against Immortals, a team that you'd expect to be able to close out very quickly. They held their own and were able to win. Both games were very winnable. I think that whether a team falls behind early or not, both of their mid game and late game decisions are strong enough that the early game should not mean too much.
All right, well, that matchup takes place a little bit later today. Another team that I want to take a look at is a team that actually isn't even playing today. They've already finished their week in Team Liquid. Now, they took a risk subbing in Fabi this weekend, but they came away with a 2-0 finish. So is this the beginning of a Liquid resurgence, or how should we be tempering expectations moving forward?
Well, just like kind of with Envy when they were, kind of dominating early on, we need to see them against some of the more difficult teams. This was an easier week, combined with the fact that you tied into last week's wins. None of those were like super dominant teams, and you want to see how they perform. The Fabi coming in is an interesting storyline. I think it wasn't just get him experience. I think it is legitimately like, how does Fabi play with this team?
Right.
Because they're going to scrim more with him. We heard that they were using him in scrims throughout the week, and it's this kind of thing where they'll probably actually be deciding pretty seriously between Piglet and Fabi in the coming weeks.
It's a matter of what do you prefer more, a team synergy or individual skill? Because easily you could say that Piglet is better than Fabi as an individual player, but how much does he mesh with the team? And it's a matter of the game is evolving to just so much about teamwork and understanding your teammates' needs on a personal level as well, that is Piglet really the candidate for TL now?
Just to piggyback off that quickly, is the meta change, as we've been saying, is it's a lot more utility focused AD carries. It's not like this, destroy them in lane focus. So I think that's something that could fit a player like Fabi better.
One of the most intriguing things about League of Legends being a sport is the fact that the game does change, and therefore the requirements of players, right? With the definition of a good player in this game is very different from that of any other sport. Let's review, though, the standings before we go into today's matches. TSM is remaining undefeated and leads the pack with Immortals and Team Envy 1 win behind in second. Cloud9, Apex, and Liquid, they all have 3 wins. Liquid with an extra loss, though, putting them slightly behind. And CLG lead the bottom teams with 2 wins. And like each and every LCS Sunday, we've got 2 streams warmed up and ready to bring you too much action for one channel. So on NALCS1, look for NRG and TSM to lock horns, followed by Fox and Immortals in the second series. Now the Battle Theater and NALCS2 gets underway with Apex versus Cloud9, and then we'll dive into that CLG versus Envy matchup. We're still keeping tabs on all your favorite plays from the day's action, so when you see something, say something. Hit us up on Twitter with hashtag LCS Big Plays. That was there was one moment yesterday you were calling out from Phoenix 1 versus Apex with iHeart Magikarp writing, "What a QSS by Mash." Let's take a look.
He's going to get some damage onto Gate as Phoenix 1 are running away. A huge cleanse from Mash gets him out. There even goes the ace in the hole, and they escape.
Hey, little Captain Jack there for Mash immediately uses the cleanse, and this right here. All right, let's see. How good was it? It was great.
Wow.
It was great.
Frame perfect. Literally,
Yeah.
the character model does
Yes.
not stop moving, so he essentially did not get stunned.
If people haven't seen it yet, check out the Sivir Captain Jack clip where he just like QSS's, gets the spell shield, uses cleanse, just never stops autoing throughout this team fight despite an enemy just throwing tons of CC at him. It's a classic play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Google Captain Jack QSS, it'll be the first thing that pops up, and it is spectacular. Mash doing his best impersonation there. We'll keep sharing your favorite highlights, and we'll climb, or rather comb through your responses and highlight your tweets alongside the day's biggest moments at the end of the show. In case you haven't heard, the North American Finals is headed to Canada on August 27th and 28th. You can watch the best teams in the region battle for the title of champions at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Ontario. Tickets will go on sale Wednesday, June 22nd, so mark your calendars. And for more information and purchasing details, head over to lolesports.com/tickets. In the meantime, feel free to join us every weekend at our studios here in Los Angeles. Tickets for all the bouts in the Battle Arena and Battle Theater are available on lolesports.com, so grab some friends and join us for a healthy dose of live LCS action. We're ready to get loaded up onto the Rift, so let's pass it off to the casters to get the day underway.
Thank you, Dash, and welcome to the Battle Arena, everybody. I am Julian Pastry Time Card. Joining me today on the cast is Aiden Zyrene Moon. We've got our first match coming up right now with undefeated TSM taking on NRG. TSM have always been among the kings of North America, but this split, they've come out of the gates at full speed, Zyrene.
Yeah, exactly. Last split, they were sitting kind of near the bottom of the standings. The last playoff team in 6th, I believe, or actually in Yeah, they
Yeah,
were 6.
they
They
were
played
6.
Cloud9, the 3rd place, but TSM have been crushing all of their opponents this split, and very few of their games are even close. They seem to come into matches extraordinarily prepared, and they're comfortable taking calculated risks in the first game of the best of 3, and they've been paying off with fast, dominating victories. They are the fastest team in the league at 32 minutes and 28 seconds by far, but it does seem to slow down a little bit in game 2 with the team because the other team starts to adjust a little bit, and they have that buffer of that game 1 usually. So, but it hasn't slowed their momentum in terms of matches still being undefeated.
Yeah, certainly still looking good. But we've got the opposite story on the other side of this matchup with NRG starting off slow and just haven't quite found their footing yet. It seems like it's getting better, but not altogether just yet.
Yeah, literally starting off slow here because they have the slowest game time coming into this week. They dropped down to 9th, though, of course, or dropped up from 10th. I guess you drop up that way. But yeah, they seem to be making small improvements. They're kind of ramping up over time. Quas is getting back into it. And after every game, you have to wonder, is this pace that they're getting better enough to keep up with the league? Because as they get better, everybody in the league gets better. But the recent games have been showing that this team isn't just the GBM show, but the squad is still lacking a lot of synergy overall. And we can say that they will improve as they play more games, like I said, but is it enough? Because we're seeing incremental improvements, but I think the league is on kind of a trajectory to outpace them.
Yeah, and that's the issue. So many games being played. Everyone's getting better so quickly, but there's certainly some matchups to look up here. And let's take a look at our featured matchup where the former TSM jungler Santorin is going to go head-to-head with his replacement, Svenskeren. 2 strong European junglers, and they've had, honestly, very different starts and good starts to this season as well.
Yeah, and you can see even with those assists per game there for Svenskeren, who's been a monster, that kill participation is low because all of TSM are killing their lane opponents. That's only 2/3 of the kills that he's involved in, and that's actually really low for a jungler. Santorin, on the other hand, though, he's kind of the cornerstone now. He's basically the keystone in which all the plays are being made. Usually it's GBM, but Santorin has been stepping up. Santorin has been putting on a fantastic performance, and he's actually a lot better than what we knew from him before.
Yeah, he's been setting up so much good stuff, and Santorin has been putting down new roots on NRG and used the criticism he receives on TSM to alter his playstyle.
So people call me a ward butt, a side stone, a lot of different words, really passive, don't really do anything on the map. I do agree to a certain extent. On TSM I didn't play as well as I should have. That's also why when I split ways with TSM, I looked at myself and I was like, okay, I have a lot to improve on. So throughout, well, since Worlds last year, I've been really like trying to embrace like being more aggressive, like doing more plays, be one of the carries for my team instead of one of the guys that like letting the team down. So, well, first of all, like I'm not gonna ever be a ward again. I'm not even buying wards in game now because I want to show like I don't need wards to win games.
I love it.
You can't even buy green wards anymore, so I guess he got buffed by that. But yeah, he's been ganking out of his mind. He's been getting a lot of first bloods. He's been paying attention to those side lanes an incredible amount. And for NRG, those side lanes that he gets ahead, they haven't been able to transition that lead yet. And so focusing GBM against Bjergsen may be a strategy here for them today.
Well, maybe, but we are ready to play some League of Legends. So let's review the starting lineups, beginning with NRG. They have a tough opponent here in TSM, but here's their lineup. Quas in the top lane, Santorin in the jungle, the very dapper GBM in the mid lane, OQ their AD carry, support Kiwi Kid, and Coach Hermit, making sure everyone's picking well.
And opposing them is TSM. In the top lane, Hanser. Jungle is Svenskeren, Bjergsen in the mid lane, Doublelift on AD carry, and Biofrost on support with Coach Park.
Yep, and again, we've talked about it. TSM still undefeated, dropped a game here and there, but record completely unblemished and still looking so strong. NRG powering up. If they can topple a giant here, that'll be a great end to their week, given kind of how it started and how things have been ramping up. Again, the curve is correct for the team, but this is kind of a brick wall they might just be running into with all their momentum.
Yeah, they ended up losing against TL yesterday, 2-1 though, so they had taken a game, and there was actually an Alawi ban pretty much every game. So looking at the picks and bans already, I assume that there's going to be an Alawi ban from TSM and a Zyra ban as well, because you want to be aggressive with this Biofrost and Doublelift bot lane. So ban out Zyra, because that's a champion that will just ruin your day.
Certainly will, as we are going to have a look, actually, because we're in the champ select for game number 1, NRG. Certainly a team with plenty of unique players and picks on their side. TSM have been playing pretty standard and straightforward, but we'll see what these two teams have in store. For draft number 1, Trundle banned by NRG. Azir will be the second to follow, taking that away from Bjergsen, and Kindred banned from TSM, so respecting the power of the champion. It's kind of split the middle in the NALCS as far as how popular that champion goes, but the players that still play it tend to dominate on it.
Yeah, and same with Nidalee as well. The players who still pick up that Nidalee when it falls through the picks and bans. And I'm actually thinking more about it. I think that TSM might be comfortable leaving the Alawi up just because it's a best of 3. Game 1 is the game to do it and test. If they do pick Alawi or if they don't, then that's fine. You saved yourself a ban if they don't pick it. But if they do, there's a lot of ways to counter her. She's a very, almost a very definition of what a Juggernaut is. Very low in gap close and mobility. A wall off, last pick an Anivia, last pick something that's going to help you out there. But Vladimir's still on the table as well.
Well, Bard banned away from NRG. Zyra the answer there from TSM. So 2 support bans with a Jax in the middle. So a very slight amount of attention for Quas respecting one of his picks, but doesn't bother to go for the full 2 to 3 top lane bans. So plenty open here for NRG. We'll see what they take here for pick number 1.
I think it's Vladimir. I think you take Vladimir just because it's so powerful. And if you're not taking it now, TSM could take it, could flex it, but they could last pick an Anivia against you. So it's kind of that catch-22.
So this is the thing. We've seen a lot of Vlad really dominate, and that is going to be the Vlad for NRG. But we are starting to see Anivia rise as sort of a counter pick. And I say that quietly because Bjergsen has shown, and I believe his last match, that it's not really a counter pick if you get ahead on Vlad. He destroyed Pobelter when they played.
Pobelter did an interview with Scar afterwards, and he's like, I don't know if it's really a counter anymore because maybe I was just facing really bad Anivias when I was playing Vladimir. But Anivia is supposed to, or very bad Vladimirs when I play Anivia. Anivia is supposed to be a counter matchup in the team fights, not so much in the laning phase. Vladimir has so much sustain, and it's hard to actually get him out of the lane. Your mana pool is just not that high. You have to have like a Rek'Sai jungle get handed first blue to even attempt to do so.
Well, see what TSM take in response here because they knew exactly what they were giving away with the Vlad. Haunter having some fun with the crowd, I think. Flashes a ribbon. Does flash the Alawi across as well, saying, hey, I know this is up. Pick it if you want, but we'll take Karma and we'll take Rek'Sai. Strong picks there for TSM. Support crew already positioned.
Yep, I like the Karma. You take the Karma away because Karma Vladimir enables Vladimir to get into that back line. Don't want to have that combo go over to NRG. And then it's also fantastic bot lane support here that has aggression with Bard banned out as well as Zyra. So it kind of falls down the tier list of the range support that's in charge of Engage. Nami is the other one that's really left up now.
Yep, especially with Zyra banned away. We'll see what NRG want to take here though. Santorin, a trademark pick, but one we haven't seen in a while in the Lee Sin. Already got the Vlad though, can flex it, so plenty of strong power already here for the side. We'll see sort of how they solidify the next few picks of their draft. Did see an Evelyn flash very quickly. She's picking up some popularity in the NALCS.
Yeah, I don't think you pick her into Rek'Sai though. Nope. That's the one champion that you don't. If they are going to pick a jungler, I assume it's Nidalee.
Hey, you might be right.
Santorin was a very early adopter of Nidalee, even before some of the changes that rooted minions and stuff like that back in the day. And it was actually quite funny because when he first told me, I didn't believe him. It just seemed like I was like, that'd never work, mage jungler.
Well,
ended up
dominating the meta for a while. Now sort of back at least in the hands of Santorin. Does take it along with Soraka actually for Kiwi Kid. So kind of curious support pick there, but pretty safe.
Well,
pretty
this is going to enable OQ to play whatever he wants. He can play Twitch with a weaker laning phase if TSM pick Lucian, which they always seem to do whenever it's up. 11 out of their last 12 games, they've picked Lucian. And you have to think that's what Doublelift's going to lock in here.
Well, TSM, considering their next few picks, maybe double mage here. There's Swain locked in.
Yeah.
Do they take the Rise as well? They're a team that often bans it away. But maybe take it pretty late here in this draft. They will get it. So Haunter and Bjergsen back on some dual AP carries.
Okay, so Rise and Swain, these are both flex picks. We typically are now seeing Swain thrown up to Haunter, though, in that top lane. And he's been playing it to great effect in the Immortals series. Lots of really good never moves and able to zone people off and using it as a tool. So there's a lot of roots here, a lot of great CC. The wave clears is a little bit low for TSM at the moment. You do have the Rise, and you can pop his ultimate and just get rid of one. But if NRG are looking for any type of siege scenario, then it could be a bit of a problem. They have the Soraka to heal up and the spears, so they have the double heal composition that Immortals was running last year, where the Soraka heals and gets rid of her HP, and then the Nidalee heals the Soraka, so she has more resource.
Pretty gross. Seen a little bit of it already as OQ does actually lock in the Twitch, so we'll take that as his 80 carry one more time. That opens up a world of options for double lift, which may be the worry, but GBM, he's played a lot of it recently. It was into the Vlad. had, I believe, 3 games yesterday. Won 1 on it when he wasn't playing against Vladimir. They have the Vlad this time, so Quas going to take it. And then Anivia there for GBM in the mid lane.
That's actually really good because you think that's a Vladimir mid lane. Now it's an Anivia into the mid lane. Quas taking the Vladimir in the top lane was always a really good Vladimir player. Hopefully he can come back into form very easily there. And now they have a way to protect their Twitch and wall people off from getting away from Quas.
And Oki's Twitch being enabled has been a huge success story for NRG. So we'll see if it happens this time around. Double if though, I wonder what he'll play because it looks like they need an 80 carry to round out that bottom lane. Biafrost having a whole lot of fun.
Is it Lucian? Or is it Lucian? Or is it Lucian?
It's usually Lucian.
It's probably Lucian.
They're taking their time though.
If it's not though, it's because Twitch does okay into Lucian. But
do you like surprises, Irene? You don't get
I
one
love
this time.
surprises.
Well, not today.
I'm disappointed.
There's Lucian once again for double lift.
Last 12 out of 13 games now is picked Lucian.
Just on a hot streak.
He thinks it's a fantastic champion, and when I interviewed him, he said, I don't know why people are still giving us Lucian. It allows him to be aggressive in lane, and this is a lane that could actually just dominate because it's a little bit passive from NRG.
Yeah, you can see pretty common actually. Biafrost has Ignite right now. I imagine he'll keep that summoner.
I
One
imagine
for the
as
Soraka,
well.
of course.
Well, Soraka, Vladimir, like this is a composition that you get a Mortal Reminder versus no problem.
Well, strong stuff there from TSM, but I think both teams pretty happy with their draft. I love what NRG are doing here. It's kind of funny. We have 2 very different double AP comps. Lots of lockdown, lots of sustained damage on the TSM side, and a lot of awesome on the NRG side. I'll say Vladimir and Anivia sounds like a whole lot of fun in long sustained team fights if you can line it up properly.
Yeah, it's a lot of stay away from us. There's the wall. You also have multiple poke champions. You have the Anivia for wave clear and poke. You have the Nidalee for poke. You also have the Twitch plus Vladimir combo, which if you get a good Hemoplague, that ultimate will shred. So you have to watch out mid-late game in order to not get blown up by that Twitch who just shows up next to your 80 carry and kills 3 people.
Well, we'll see if NRG can get that done, but both teams are ready to start things off. So send us your predictions for this series with the hashtag NRG win or the hashtag TSM win. We talked about it. TSM's game 1s have been brutally efficient.
Yeah, they are incredibly quick with their games, fastest in the league at the moment, and most of them are wins, so it's not other people winning over them quickly. They have to just put the pedal to the metal, and that's the concern here for NRG, is this team is so fast. Does it give time for GBM and Quas to scale in this game? Well, we're going to find out.
OQ kind of needs to scale a bit as well, so NRG may have to weather the storm for the first 30 minutes or so, but we are on to cylinders here for game 1 of our series. And Quas, Ghost Vladimir top lane. I love it. It's my favorite thing. Seen a little bit of it so far. But Quas, always a player to play a little differently.
Yeah, I expect him to get a proto belt very early on. No flash, right? And it's a great item on Vladimir in the first place. But overall, one of the reasons that it wasn't played top so much is that you take the Ghost or the Flash, and you don't really get your choice because you have to take Teleport. Whereas mid lane, you can take both Summoner spells, which is Vladimir's problem, is getting into that backline. And once he does, he just can win you the game.
We actually have 4 teleports in this game. Speaking of Summoner spells, both mid lane are deciding to take it as well. See where the teams are fanning out to, though. Right now, everyone's just kind of hanging out, looking across from each other in their respective roles. Quick check-in with the Keystone Masteries.
Yep.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, nothing really out of the ordinary here. Strength of Ages on Vladimir. He has some % of his own HP damage to other people. And Storm Raider Surge for Rise, which is great because against this composition that's such low mobility on energy, all you need is to have that extra burst of movement speed.
We'll see how the 1v1 matches up because Bjergsen has been beating everyone, it feels like. GBM, no slouch. You can see OQ and KiwiKid hanging out near those Krugs. So we may actually get standard lane for the first time in a little while. Bold choice here by NRG to want to just straight up fight TSM given how strong their laners are. But Santorin has been ganking and applying a lot of pressure. See if he can lift those lanes through what looks to be maybe a rough laning phase here for NRG. It's certainly going to want to scale with this composition. See if TSM can play the same fast-paced league they've shown us already in the first 3 weeks of play.
A little bit faster there for TSM. Shows up the lane. Actually, oh, okay. Doublelift is just shoving the wave. If he had actually let his minions die, may have denied 1 or 2 from energy, but decides to just shove it up, no problem.
Svenskaren, getting a little low. He's okay. He does take it down. No smite, but no problem there as he's going to burrow and get some health back. As the cheers come out, we do have a brief pause.
GBM.
Oh, nothing for me? Amazing.
Yeah.
I'll take it. GBM, what a character.
It looks like something with Kiwi Kid. Yesterday he was having the growling in his headset. Hopefully not again. They're back. They're back.
You sure it's not GBM? I'm sure he's sure. I'm curious to see standard lane. So as I said, haven't seen them in a little while. Feels like everyone wants a lane swap. Maybe it's because I casted 2 CLG games yesterday and they went crazy at level 1 and lane swapped everywhere. But like I said, it feels like potentially bold to want to 1v1 TSM in all their lanes, given how strong the star power is across every single matchup.
Yeah, I do think that it's something where they want Santorin to be able to gank very early on and abuse this Nidalee, as opposed to waiting through a lane swap, getting to the point where Svenskeren and maybe TSM have already outperformed you in a rotation because the communication's a little bit better. This bottom lane of OQ and Kiwi Kid, well, they basically understand fight and don't fight.
Oof.
And it's harder to get those little finer communications across.
Nice Q there from Bifrost. Gets good damage onto OQ and Kiwi Kid. Double lift, as always, wanting to play up and aggressive.
Yeah, TSM, Biofrost and Double Lift, both of them love to play forward. They love to be in the opponent's face, and they pick champions that enable them to do so pretty much every game. And NRG, this is going to be a scaling bottom lane for them, but I've heard both these players say they like to play like there's no jungler. They like to walk forward, and they like to actually push up the lane. So this is a little bit of a different look for Kiwi Kid.
Well, we definitely had a look at the junglers just before we started the game. Santorin right now going to take that Scuttle Crab down. Svenskeren
Sees him.
not there in time to try and take it, but hits him with a Pro Seeker for a bit of extra damage.
Yeah, also saw that his HP was a little bit lower and that he doesn't have red buff yet. So here immediately comes the invade. Svenskeren has been doing this over and over and over again. And here comes Biofrost as well.
Yeah, nice wall though from NRG. He's going to spot it, but they might lose the buff, which would be...
I think they will. Like, Soraka's going to show up, and Soraka
Yeah,
can't do too
Bjergsen's
much.
there as
Here,
well.
Bjergsen already got priority on mid.
It's rough. Maybe going to try and smite it away. Santorin does have his smite back up. Sven's got his as well, though. No vision in the brush.
And TSM immediately collapsed. Jungling is a team effort, and they are showing right there. As soon as Svenskeren identified, oh, he doesn't have red yet. He's really low. We're going to go in. And Bjergsen shoved up mid lane. And Anivia doesn't have a way to really wave clear it just yet. He can throw out the stun, but then when he shows up to the fight, he doesn't have it because it's a 12-second cooldown.
Yeah, no ulti just yet. So tricky stuff there for GBM, and a nice collapse from TSM. Going to give Svenskeren the early jungle lead. Although Santorin's still up overall in creep because Nidalee jungles pretty quickly. Does have the tracker's knife now, so nothing too aggressive. As checking with the top side of the map, Haunter and Quas going in. Torment down from Haunter. Good damage.
Ghost.
Quas, but Quas is supposed to keep going. He's actually popped the Ghost. They're going to keep chasing through. Haunter low on mana, slow there from Tides of Blood. Quas just going to keep at it, and Haunter doesn't have any healing, has to keep running away.
Yep, you had to watch out when you don't have that Catalyst just yet. As soon as Swain gets that, because his passive restores mana, he basically has infinite HP with the Catalyst because he turns mana into HP, and then he just keeps doing that over and over again by getting free.
Ooh, maybe all in here. Roku getting low.
Yeah, he's like playing a little bit weird here. It looked like Double Lift was going to get the better of that trade, but he's definitely respecting the amount of stacks that he was getting from the Twitch poison.
Yep. Doesn't want to... You don't really want to go all in against Soraka. You tend to die. Too much healing there, messing up all your math as Santorin takes that Scuttle Crab away. Quas actually going to back off. Started Boots. Now has Spirit Visage components so far. Ruby Crystal plus a Null Magic Mantle. Aggressively TPs back to lane. Keep the CS up. Haunter actually already used his. Going back to get a Doran's Ring after that Corrupting Potion plus a Ruby Crystal. So top lane is just trading those early TPs.
Yeah, it was really good by Haunter to hold on to his flash as well. He knew he wasn't in that much danger, and he didn't panic. Because if you blow your flash in this matchup, the next time Quas has Ghost, you don't have a summoner spell to answer. So Haunter was being a little conservative there.
Ooh, OQ going to go into stealth here using that ambush, but just going to last hit with it. Threatening a little bit again, trying to play like Santorin's here. Now he is actually in the bottom lane. See if TSM bite here.
It's still going to be hard because this doesn't have any gank assist in this bottom lane. It
Yeah.
relies on TSM using mobility abilities to get closer, like shielding himself. And yeah, exactly. He's going to back off. Santorin can't really find a fight here. And Svenskeren's going to head to the bottom side. There are no wards down at all.
I think maybe this is actually what Centurion was looking for, a counter gank, because now we're going to go all in for it. OQ going to get snared up there. Spence going to chase another Kiwi Kid. Gets the double knockup with the Umbaro, and OQ, his first blood, but the TPs are coming down. There's GBM going to chase up the double banana. Almost enough with the poison. OQ is going to get it. GBM now turned into an egg, and Olivia is going to fall to Spence Garen.
Immediately, the TPs come through from both mid laners, and there's just way more damage in CC on the side of TSM. That's the big thing is NRG's composition. Their CC is only GBM, Quas, Santorin, OQ, Kiwi Kid. Nothing in their kit except for that Soraka silence. That's it. So they don't have ways to actually stop the damage from TSM.
And Sven is going to tunnel out, move his way back towards the mid as we're going to watch this replay.
OQ, immediate exhaust onto double lift, and then OQ changes his focus, hits him a couple times, throws out the cast, and then that banana ends up getting blown up, and GBM comes through, and immediately Bjergsen's already there, has the combo, was already prepped to actually pop his passive before the teleport went off.
Nice play there from TSM.
Yeah,
So
so that's another communication thing. We were seeing when Svenskeren moved into the jungle, Bjergsen was already shoving up. Svenskeren goes to gank bottom. Bjergsen is already in position to get his ultimate off as soon, or his ultimate and his passive off as soon as he teleports through. So it's that communication where it's like, okay, I'm ready for this to happen.
Yep. And you can see that collapse. Sounds TSM 2 kills versus NRG's 1. Svenskeren picked up one, and Bifrost actually picked up the other one. So the support crew coming in with a bit of early gold. See what they turn it into. It was double lift, not alone. Bifrost actually returns to the lane. Oku though trying to get aggressive, going to poke back and forth, but double lift. Early serrated Dirk able to dish out the damage. Oku though is going Ghostblade first as well, so pretty similar early game power for these two AD carries.
Yeah, OQ is actually still ahead in gold because of the CS and also the kill being worth more than 2 assists.
Ooh, good flash from GBM.
Oh.
Bjergsen did not want to flash over, but the threat was certainly there. Now looking for that blue buff, but Santorin actually
See,
taking
and
away the
Bjergsen
wolves.
shoved up, and Bjergsen immediately collapses into the jungle just in case.
And Santorin's going to lose another camp. It's actually that wolf that goes down. Sven smites it away, gets the gold, gets the wolf spirit. Santorin can't really be on this side of the jungle now without getting spotted.
Yeah. And this is really awesome from TSM. And now he's going to walk to the other side because that red buff. And they also saw Santorin on the top side, so it's a guaranteed 4v2 dive because there's no teleports either. They're coming to the bot side. They're going to dive.
Yeah, OQ actually going to get snared up here. Culling down for Lucian. Twitch goes down. And now Cubikid's the next target. Bjergsen's here. He does have his flash. Prey Seeker's in. Sven, he's going to go for the dive. He's going to try and line it up. The last Q hits it. And Bjergsen gets another.
He's just looks so easy for TSM. TSM make it look easy. It's a lot of communication. It's a lot of actually identifying how to play the map. We saw Santorin top. Okay, we immediately back off, run to bot side, and there's no way he's going to get there in time. And if he does, we cut him off in the jungle 2v1 because GBM is still farming mid.
And now this, Haunter versus Quas. Quas just eating damage from Ravenor's flock. I mean, Vladimir heals, but it's going to take a little while to get this all back. Crimson Rush pops, gets onto a minion. Haunter smartly playing back there as the passive procs, and now he goes back in. Of course, Ever eats an Ever, maybe probably dies as Hemo Plague down. Defensively, Quas is starting to struggle in this top lane.
Yeah, as soon as that Catalyst comes through, it really changes the matchups that Swain has and that level 6. OQ though.
Surprise! Ooh, Never Move doesn't hit. That's a good flash from Haunter though.
Yep.
Plays it safe.
It is a good flash. They immediately get out of that lane because they don't have summoner spells there. Kiwi Kid, no flash, only exhaust. And now let's get some turrets. Late lane swap.
Very. I think NRG just dodging the bottom side of the map because TSM were playing too aggressively there. Might even just try and break up the game. Landing phase has not been going great early on, but Quas eating damage in tower hits. That's very unsafe. Svenskeren not quite there to convert for the CC though.
Santorin waiting for Bjergsen.
Ooh, 1v1.
Oh.
GBM's joining in as well.
You made me ward.
There's a flash. Bjergsen going to get himself out, but Santorin's still tracking. Q's going to miss. Bjergsen going to turn it around. Santorin almost gets his face blown off. He does. Bjergsen take it now onto GBM. Going to try and turn and fight Bjergsen. Panning around, needs to dodge the stun. Waiting for Svenskeren. Tunnels there. Q lands in. Umbaro doesn't get it. GBM though, awfully low, but Kiwi Kid here to save the day. Exhaust is down. Oki the kill onto Bjergsen. And Sven forced the tunnel out NRG with a good collapse there.
Oh my god, you look at that and you go, GBM has egg again? That was fast. It just seemed up really quickly.
Well, maybe a trade here on the towers. Double lift and Biofrost working on this tier 2 on the bottom side of the map. That lane swap is going to cost NRG an objective here. Double lift able to take that down. 2 turrets to 0 right now for TSM as NRG are working on this mid. But Bjergsen's got TP and NRG know it is not safe to stay here. They'll back away.
Wow. I just watched it over again. He gets his egg literally right before he gets egged. It's so close. The buff is grayed out, and then eventually, and yeah, Bjergsen turns this around so fast. Starts chunking out GBM. And GBM's kind of buying time here, and it's really lucky that his egg timer comes up right there. As soon as he started getting healed from Soraka, it came back up. Insane.
Great collapse there from NRG. TSM, though, again, we talked about objective counterplay. Bottom tier 2, now a Mountain Drake added to their objectives as well. Starting to really pull energy around this map and also keep that gold lead up. 3,500 gold up so far. It's been a great early game for TSM. Double Renovator's done. Ghostblade done. These carries massive in the early stages of the game.
And TSM plays such fast games, and the funny thing is that they're not just picking early game champions, right? Only their bottom lane ever really seems to pick early game champions. Bjergsen on Ryze and Hotzer on Swain, arguably very high scaling champions that want that late game, mid game point, but they still make plays. It's the players playing fast. It's not the champions that they're selecting. They're actually just kind of having insurance too, because if the game does go longer, you do have these champions that, it's not like a Renekton that falls off or anything.
No, it's a playstyle thing. It's been a big shift for TSM. That's really seen them early success here in the season. They said it themselves. We just wanted to start playing a little bit more aggressive, a little bit faster, be more decisive.
Exactly. It sucks to lose, but it sucks to lose slow.
Yep.
So they're going to be risky, and so they either win quickly or they lose quickly.
Once juking it out, now turn it around, teleport in from Bjergsen. He's going to look for Quas here. Snare not going to land, he's going to chase in with the passive ready. There's one, looking for it. Quas pops a Hemo Plague, they'll dive in for it. Snare 2 lands, never move. Very good on the other end, but they need to keep moving. Too much healing is spent. Not going to move in, the pull pop from Quas though. GBM going to move in with his own teleporter spends. Silenced up there by the Soraka, flash out from Rek'Sai. GBM looks for the wall, doesn't get it after the flash. Quas trying to slow it down, almost a snipe on a Santorin. Heal out though from Soraka is going to keep them up as energy. Still chasing forward, Bjergsen stands his ground and takes out Santorin. And now Haunts are going to kite it around, but Quas, he's healed up so much as Bifrost now going to snare him in.
Here comes Double Lift as well.
Quas going to keep moving down, he's trying, but he's getting kited. Double Lift takes him out. Now GBM the target, flash out from Double as the calling. Almost snipes Kiwi Kid. Oku takes out Haunter on the other end as TSM just trading blows with NRG. Bifrost goes in aggressive, looks for Oku, does get it. Now GBM getting aggressed on as well. GBM blows up Double. We'll live with the Soraka healing on the other end. And what a mess.
The back and forth. Oh my god. Only a few members making it out on each side, but TSM still get the better of it by 1.
Well, good play there again from TSM, but NRG starting to really pick it up and fight. Mass teleports to the top half of the map. 3-for-2 fight does still favor TSM, but they'll take objectives at the end as well. Svenskeren claims himself the blue buff, stealing that away from a very mana-hungry Anivia.
Yeah, there's some legwork there too. Look at where Lucian is right now. All the way on the bottom side of the map. And so by the end of this fight, Double Lift makes it up here. So everybody is coming. It's not something where it's like, oh yeah, they're fighting, we're just gonna push turret bottom and do our own thing. It's no, this is gonna be a fight that dictates a lot of the game later on. Quas underneath the turret, able to stay alive. Hemo Plague only hits 1, doesn't hit 2, so he gets a good chunk of healing, but not as much as he could have. And then throws out the Qs. Too much sustain for Svenskeren. And then Santorin, a little over aggressive here. Exposes himself when he walks forward. And then Bjergsen goes, oh, this is a kill opportunity. Snare, E, throws the Q. Able to pick it up. And it also gives him Storm Raider's Surge to run out.
Unfortunately, that fight, a little too long to watch the rest of it because these teams always want to fight. Quas getting low, but doesn't go down. Double Lift, though, going to take out a pink ward and then cruise into that top lane and take this down. As we have a tweet, I saw this earlier, you pointed it out to me. Today is Father's Day, tweets TSM Double Lift. So please remember, I'm your daddy. Sure. He would.
He didn't even tag OQ.
I don't think he needs to. He should use the hashtag NALCS, though, because I'm pretty sure that's who he's addressing. TSM going to take out the Rift Herald. Double Lift certainly looking good this game. 2-2-4 on the Lucian. Ghostblade done, Berserker Greaves done, but just as aggressive as ever. And TSM really playing together this time around. Rift Herald buff going to go over to Svenskeren, actually. Gets a little bit more mileage out of it than Haunter, I suppose.
Yeah, Swain, in terms of auto attacks, you do get actually a decent amount of them off, but Svenskeren, it'll help his clear, it'll help him counter jungle, because if he's going into those buffs, it gives him just a nice burst of damage onto them, a little bit of magic. So, able to take out the camps from Santorin a little bit faster.
And now with all the outer turrets down for NRG, TSM just starting to play around the map and see if they can't do more damage to structures. Energy now grouping up in the mid lane. Actually, 5 members strong right now. Svenskeren going to spot a few.
Yeah.
But his pink wall going to get cleared out of the way. TSM will have to move into defense. NRG, I think they know we got a siege comp.
Yep.
I guess we start a siege.
Exactly. Group up is 5. Quas has his ghost. You don't have tier 1s on both of your outers. Kiwi Kid.
Yeah, a little too far forward. Sven gonna look for it, finds the Unburrow. Firefrost with a great tag there on the first one. He gets blown up at the start. Now Haunter moving in onto Oku, but he snipes Svenskeren. Oku though, not gonna last the night as the burst is enough. Quas getting chased down. Double lift though, moves out of the way from the stun, and TSM protect their turret. Trade 2 for 1.
I don't know what Kiwi Kid was doing so far up. That was... Soraka's usually like... Your 80 carry is an 80 carry range away, and you're usually an 80 carry range away from your 80 carry, so that nobody can touch you.
Well, TSM now going to counter push. GBM though with the wave clear at level 11. Anivia, although low on mana now, going to have to get himself back home to refill that.
Yeah, it looks like he walked up to hit the turret. Wanted to get it just a little bit quicker. Didn't go down though. Actually, eventually it did at the very end, so maybe it helped out.
Maybe not worth. We'll see.
Yeah.
TSM actually still have this out of turret to assault. They did take the bottom tier 2, so apologies there. That's where their 3 turrets are coming from. So actually a nice little point for NRG to work around now. They can continue sieging up. They'll equalize the gold pretty quickly as Double Lift actually fancies himself in Svenskeren's position. Took the Scuttle Crab, now going to start this Mountain Drake, and Sven, he'll make it there in time to smite. Just in case he needs it. It's on cooldown right now, but this should be another Drake going over to TSM.
Having 2 Mountain Drakes, absolutely essential when you're playing against a team that has so much siege, because when you're against the siege comp and you don't have really fantastic tools besides hard engaging to do it, you clear the wave, you're kind of lucky you rotate, you get to that turret and you're doing true damage to it, so backdooring it is actually much easier as well.
Certainly is. And TSM, they've already shown that when they win the fights, they tend to convert into objectives.
Yeah, they can also do a 20-minute Baron quite easily.
A lot of damage. See if they go for it. It would be, that would fit the new TSM, I guess. Going straight in for the Baron as it spawns. Up in a minute 40 as we actually move ourselves towards that 20-minute mark. But right now, the team's just looking to kind of get a foothold here on the map. We've actually had a long, extended split push battle, I suppose, between Quosk and Haunter in the bottom half of the map. But again, a lot of teleports in this game. Very map-centric. Even in the jungle matchup, Sven wasn't ganking so much as controlling Centauran's early jungle, excuse me.
Controlling it, Bjergsen was pushing in mid, pushing in GBM, and then that gave complete agency over both buffs every time. And it's just the communication and we talk about jungle mid lane synergy. Well, usually it's the jungler ganking for the mid laner, but now it's the mid laner helping the jungler gank the jungle.
Yep, and again, another blue buff maybe denied here from GBM, but Sven walled in. Blue goes over. Sven does get it. GBM can't catch a break this game. Even with all those mana items, Anivia really wants the blue.
That was something that Pobelter talked about in his interview as well when he played Anivia versus Vlad, is TSM controlled every blue buff. Anivia is rather blue buff dependent, and that's one of the ways to get her out of the game. Morellonomicon is not something you see anymore. Athene's is something that she doesn't buy, so you're seeing Rod of Ages into the tier, which just reduces a little bit of the cost. And then in a 6-11, the cost of the Anivia ultimate went up. So she needs that blue buff in order to stop these sieges, in order to actually contribute a lot to these team fights.
Well, OQ also getting stronger. I'm guessing it's Rune and Hurricane second, if my memory of his build is correct, but does have the Ghost Blade ready. Double it for these Phage after the Ghost Blade, so it'll be standard builds here for both these 80 carries. But they're going to hit a pretty peak point when they hit the 2-item mark, and it seems like both teams just sort of happy to farm up. TSM know they're ahead, happy to lean on their 5,000 gold lead for a little while. NRG happy to play back, knowing that they kind of takes time to set up a siege with this team comp. They'd rather get a little stronger first, so
Yeah.
sort of a delay in this middle of the game. Everyone's taking it a little bit slower, but that should not last too much longer as the pressure starts to mount on these side lanes and around those big objectives.
Yeah, with Baron on the table, getting control of that side and putting your top laners in the bottom. Now TSM push out mid, and now they're going to get this mid turret. They have that double Mountain Drake, so it goes down so quickly.
Yep, a Karma and a Rise taking a turret quickly. Svenskeren, ooh, maybe trouble. Not too worried though. Pretty tanky at this stage in the game.
Yeah, what's your engage if you're energy? You really don't have too much catch. It's just Anivia. Everybody else, you kind of chase them and hope that they're engaging on you.
Ooh, Quas, speaking of engage. Nope, he's fine. Svenskeren not even borrowed, so not going to see him walk by. Just going for a recall instead, but Quas does respect that TSM are potentially coming down there. Going to collapse the tunnel.
He's like, that's a fresh one too, so Svenskeren's around.
Well, Maybe have to play back for a little longer, but this moves back in to meet the wave. Haunter now with an Abyssal Scepter completed, so 2 items done for the Swain. But Quas able to hold his own pretty comfortably now that the Spirit Visage is completed. But an awful lot of health right now. Plenty of CDR as well, so Quas pretty close to max, depending on his runes and masteries. And Hurricane now done for Oku, so maybe NRG now. Think a bit more like getting something started. Because they're sort of hitting the item breakpoints, but TSM have already shown that, you know what, you want to pick a fight, we're more than happy to go for it. Awfully strong themselves at this stage, but definitely been a quiet 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's been rather quiet here. And I'm also interested in what that item is for Quas. I think it's going to be a Warmogs, since it now has cooldown reduction on it. It does build out of a Kindle Gem, seeing the rejuvenation bead. So he's just looking at even more HP for himself and being able to regen between fights. He'll hit that 3K mark. And there it is. It's 3.1K.
Nice.
When he backs and gets it.
I like it.
No, I don't like it. Proto Belt.
Huh?
Proto Belt is
Proto
fantastic.
Belt.
Proto Belt Rylai's is so potent.
Full tank Vladimir, baby.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, gets away. Hard to keep him there.
Good damage there from Oku, though. Gonna have to start respecting the Ghostblade ultimate there from Twitch. Oku looking around. It's a prey seeker from Svenskeren. Again, TSM actually sort of struggling to make room here around the map. Pretty wide open right now. Still up significantly in golden turrets, but I think they're just waiting between objective spawns at this point. They know that, you know what, we do have scaling champions. We've got an early lead. We can get a sit on this, farm it out for a little while longer, and we're confident that when a team fight does start, say around this Baron area, maybe around the next Drake, it will be Cloud Drake in 50 seconds. They should be able to win it, but they do have to be careful. With this many teleports in a game, do not want to be caught off guard by NRG, especially with an ambush Twitch, potentially ripping through your whole team with a Ruinins.
Yeah. The Hurricane completed, like you said. Oh, boy.
Maybe Bjergsen can fancy him some 1v1 now. Quas pops the ulti. Crimson Rush is good as well. Bjergsen going to keep chasing. Sanguine pull pod. Doesn't have enough distance. Bjergsen going to flash in for it. Snares are going to land, and Bjergsen going to try and chuck him out. But that's an awful lot of health on the Vlad. Dancing between the minions. Bjergsen misses the Q. There's another stare, but Quas is just going to keep healing. Sarah's pop for the shield. Bjergsen knows he has to keep fighting. Q's are going to land in. Another Sanguine pull out of Quas. Now dancing back into the minion wave of Bjergsen. Eventually going to get him. No, they're healing. Quas
GBM's here.
moving, and GBM is finally arrived. Bjergsen going to get himself started. Quas gets the kill.
Quas with the dancing shoes, switching partners with the minions over and over again. Those are some minions right there. Used absolutely perfectly from Quas.
Well, Bjergsen pretty strong, but not strong enough. Couldn't kill the Vlad in time.
He had help, let's be fair. That was like a
He had a lot of help.
1-on-6. But still, honestly, fantastically played there.
Well, 20 seconds till he's back up, but he does have TP. NRG, they're going to leap at their chance for a Cloud Drake. GBM snared up, though. Culling is down. Does do a good chunk of damage, but Svenskeren forced the tunnel out of the way. Oku unleashing just with some basic auto attacks. Ultimates are still there. This is a dangerous spot for TSM. They do see the Cloud Drake being started, but I don't think they can contest.
Yeah, instead they're going to look at the Baron. They have TP points over there as well. Cloud Drake versus Baron. One of them's much better than the other.
Yep, it's Baron.
No, man, it's Cloud Drake. Cloud Drake. No, it's actually Baron. In all seriousness. They're going to wait in the pit. They don't have vision.
TSM
And if you
just
look at the
setting
blue
up.
trinkets, they're both used already.
Bjergsen has TP as well. Sitting in base right now, looking for a home guard flank. This Quas
Yeah.
does give up his push on that bottom half.
This is going to be brutal for NRG. They have to check.
They do. Check well. Svenskeren gets spotted. GBM walls them off. He's like, I don't think so.
Svenskeren went.
Oh, that's a little too much. Taking damage, getting snared up by the Anivia. Oku gets a freebie.
Yeah, as soon as you hit that E on Rek'Sai, you are committed to that. That wall, he's the one who slipped by, and then you saw Double to Biofrost walk up. So definitely different mindset there coming into that choke point.
And a rare spot of miscommunication for TSM. Svenskeren goes in solo, gets himself killed. Doesn't look like it's going to cost them too much, so they've gotten 2 people picked off. I'm not going to quite call Bjergsen's 1v6 or attempted 1v6 to pick off, but 2 kills there for NRG, but no real rewards apart from this Cloud Drake, which Santorin will now solo.
Yeah, it was a really good reaction as well because Svenskeren did have his flash, and it just ended up being GBM with the stun, saw the Rek'Sai tunnel coming, and then the silence afterwards, which then rooted Svenskeren. So no possible way to actually get out of that after Svenskeren committed.
Yeah, we've seen it a few times. Sven, once he's in, really hard to get out
Yeah.
from all of NRG's kind of disengage ability. Soaking a lot of damage though now with the Spirit Visage, so could be a bit better. Bifrost snaring up the crab, but we'll save it for his jungler. Karen and friends. Now he's back. Did use the ulti to get back into the area. TSM just setting back up for Baron as NRG did get that Cloud Drake. Ooh, Haunter. OQ gonna move in, pops the Ghost Blade. Haunter though, just gonna turn on the ulti and run. Ooh, good wall, good flash. Haunter plays it safe once again.
He never got the contaminate off.
Oh, hello. It's Garen
what?
Bjergsen unleashing, but OQ living with a whole bunch of healing. The rest of energy now there. Gonna chase it onto Bifrost as the target. Centaurn tags him with his spear, but double lift there to protect him. And down. Quas in the backline. Haunter goes down. OQ now following up. Bjergsen gonna fall down as GBM gets himself the double 3v5 now. As NRG pounds forward looking for a few more kills.
Yeah, they're going to look at this mid lane turret as well. They have a bit of a push on it. The minion wave is right there. And Quas, with his 3,000 HP plus, getting numbers back, chasing him down, stopping the recalls.
Now gonna fall down. Energy gonna keep pushing forward.
Yeah, he's stopping the recalls. They can't defend this. They have to get back, and there's so much time here. TSM are actually going to look at the Baron.
All right,
they're going to look at the Baron.
They should have enough damage, but Energy are gonna keep pushing. How much do they get off this? They ping the Baron. I think they know they're there. They will break mid in here, but Baron looks to go to TSM. It's getting low spend. Does not have Smite. He won't have it in time, but they won't need it. Does go down. 3 members of TSM will get it. Haunter barely not back to get the buff. And what a weird trade. TSM, huge amount of damage control there.
Yeah, Quas chased him off and then came back mid as a Vladimir. It's kind of awkward, but OQ, they want to take him out. 2 sources of damage on him. Kiwi Kid with the ultimate. No Executioner's Calling, but there is now an Ignite on him finally to cut some of that healing. But Quas, they walk too far forward. Quas with the sneak attack, pops the Ghost, gets in the backline, gets Bjergsen as well as Haunter, both solo laners. And now they have that inhibitor down, but the Baron's going to give TSM a bit of pushing power here.
Yeah, they're still up in gold, don't forget. TSM are almost up 5k still.
Yeah, it would have been worse if the Baron wasn't taken by 3 members.
Certainly would have.
It's a very interesting call. It's a very bold call to say, let's get this Baron here. We know Quas is somewhere in the area, but we don't think he's going to check. And we'll give up 2 turrets and an inhibitor for it.
I'm not sure what else they can get, though. Usually you take Baron to extend the lead.
Yeah, it may have just been a situation where they're saying the 3 of us can't even stop them from taking an inhibitor anyway. So,
or it's too dangerous to do so.
Yeah, it's quick calls.
Yeah, I mean, I like the decisiveness from TSM, certainly. But Energy, we talked about their scaling. 28.5 minutes in. We're starting to get to that point. GBM got his 3 items. OQ almost has his 3. That Hexdrinker saved his life with the help of Kiwi Kid, though. And Quas, the full tank Vlad.
Yeah.
We laughed earlier. Maybe eating those words. But the Banshee's Veil now added in, and he's...
I'm looking at him, and he's got 82 AP, right? He's sitting at 3 items completed, 82 AP just from his passive. But he's relying on the extra health damage because Vladimir's spells have a percentage of his HP added on his damage. So his Sanguine Pool is doing an extra 200. His E fully charged is doing an extra 374. So he's stacking a whole bunch of HP and just spamming his E.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a AP bruiser tank.
Yeah. It's very awkward, though, because you'd think it'd be counterintuitive because his spells have HP costs.
Yes.
In terms of just percentages, it's not a flat amount. So he's spending more of his HP to cast his spells now. But it's still working out for him. He just needs to stack MR, and they need to zone off double lift. And then what's Bjergsen and Haunter going to do to him?
Yeah, that's been the big issue. Is he's just in the backline being very disruptive, much like he would on maybe another Bruiser or another fighter-style champion. Not as much straight-up carry potential, but it's working so far. TSM, though, trying to make the Baron-empowered Siege work. OQ stealth up, looking for a potential pick. Good spear from Santorin to deal with that creep. Fence carrying in a body block. Nope, not safe. It's a transfusion. GBM actually in the bottom side of the map dealing with a different push, but I think is now reversed that. So TSM might get something here. They're on the Quas. Very tanky target though, and Quas is just going to turn it around. Spen again. Eats half his health and damage as now the Collins popped out from double lift. Wall though, going to maybe get them in.
Ooh. Kiwi Kid got rather low there. May have had to pop a summoner, but gets out alive, has somebody body block for him. And now it's the rotation towards the mid lane here for TSM.
Still staying up, TSM, blue buff.
Wow, they just take everything. Just in passing, they could rotate here a little faster and maybe just get this turret immediately, but they decide to take the blue buff away from GBM.
Playing a bit of a slower game here for TSM. Starting to play a little bit safer, still decisive, but again, they know that there's mids wide open.
Yeah.
Can't afford to make a big mistake.
And it's interesting to note because we talked about how NRG have really slow games, right? They came into the week 10th, last place in terms of average game time. but they've lost the majority of their games, right? They're 1-4, but they still have a large sum, which means they lose slow.
I don't know if Doublelift wins this 1v1.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, Quas moving in. Not a whole lot of life still here, but Doublelift gonna
Wait,
keep
wait,
going though.
wait.
Doublelift actually gets out safely. I think he was gonna win.
Well, he had his Executioner calling right now. Executioner's calling for 800 gold, sunk that into it, and Quas was not able to heal as much as he would have, but still Doublelift gets out. It's like, that guy's too tanky.
Yep.
Way too tanky.
They both just say, hey, you know what? Kind of a standoff.
That's a really good sign, though, for Quas, because he can build all of that MR, all that HP, and then all he has to do is maybe buy a Thornmail last item, right? And then he's just a gigantic tank. Yep.
Forever.
Yep.
Well, everyone's just getting huge in this game. Cloud Drake's back up. Elder Dragon will spawn after this, so see if the teams decide to take that down and maybe put that objective on the board as well. That's going to clear out a ward. TSM certainly looking in the area. Wants to maybe caught out. GBM going to miss the stun, but he's walled him off. Now silenced up there. Pops the ulti beforehand. There was Quas. Once again, deep in enemy territory. Oki, though, getting chunked out, but he gets out to safety. Now going to start firing over the wall. Santorin in the front line. Sven is low.
Oh, nice never move. Here comes Doublelift.
Nice there for the triple. Now Doublelift in the backline. Blows up Oki. Now going to chase forward. Collins down. Looks for Oki, but it's not going to get it. He'll through it, though, as Quas finally falls down. TSM with very good play.
Yeah, Doublelift dives the backline there. They trade 2-0 at the end of the day. Quas jumped in there, and everybody had to focus him down.
And they did. Actually killed him. NRG couldn't quite navigate around terrain. Oki getting caught a little bit there from Hauntz's great never move.
Yeah, really big play there from Hauntzer. And then Doublelift, I don't think they even had vision of him entering that fight. Thought it was a 4v5 because they knew Doublelift was back. And then he eventually joins, but he comes over the Cloud Drake wall. Like, that's really unexpected.
Yep, aggressive certainly, as they're going to try and break mid down here as well. Doublelift maybe overstayed his welcome. NRG trying to defend. A few more shots will do it. Kiwi Kid as well, eating bullets.
Bifrost can't find the way out.
Bye! Flashes out. Silence finally wears off. They're going to actually commit for this. Bjergsen, with two friends, breaks top lane. Oki lining it up. TSM got a lot of towers in this push. They want the inhib, though. They will stay for it. NRG not back in time to defend it, and TSM, a Cloud Drake and 3 turrets plus an inhib, I believe.
Yeah, they just
huge windfall.
They keep winning these team fights only slightly, and then they end up taking a large advantage off of it, especially with the 2 Mountain Drakes like you were talking about. Baron's up in 45 seconds, and they have 1 inhib down, 1 exposed. Svenskeren clears the ward out in the pit. They catch off Haunzer. Svenskeren actually doesn't do much to Quas there. Quas is a little bit caught, and they all focus down OQ. They're trying to get to him, and Santorin is focusing Svenskeren, and Doublelift comes in. The ward was swept, comes in the back line, immediately able to blow up OQ. And with that, Executioner's calling doesn't get enough healing from the Soraka. So having purchased that item, it definitely cuts that healing and allows him to take out a... Oh, wow. Yeah, allows him to take out the Soraka healing by a large chunk. And man, Hauntzer's doing work in these fights.
Yeah, you can see the amount of work Hauntzer did there. Was the first one to get caught, pretty much stayed in the middle of the team fight the entire time.
And Doublelift did a lot for just entering the fight very quickly. Did more than GBM did, who was there the entire time.
I mean, you know, only 2,500 damage,
Yeah.
but I think it was all of OQ's health bar.
Yeah.
So probably a good one there.
Yeah, it's like Q, auto, and then a few more, and then actually just threw out an ultimate.
And we've seen it. NRG really relying on OQ's good ultimates and positioning to get maximum damage done in these fights. Baron is back up, so now back on the table here for both these teams. TSM, though, 10,000 gold in the lead.
Yeah.
With so much pressure mounting.
You still have to watch out for a few things, though. Now there's the IE completed for OQ, so he has that gigantic Twitch power spike if he does show up on top of the carry. And then Bjergsen has his GA completed, whereas Quas is still working on his. Doesn't have it just yet, so the next team fight... Bjergsen's looking for a TP. Yeah. Bjergsen's looking for a flank.
Oh, GBM caught up! Good never move by Haunzer. It's turned into an egg. Kiwi Kid now getting chased down by Haunzer. Lucian gets a shot down there. OQ blown up in the front line. TSM rampage forward for 3. And now going to chase down Quas for the 4th. He's going to go down, and Santorin, the only one left alive.
Yep. And TSM say, we're just going to roll right through you. They've had enough of this game. 35.5 minutes in, looking for that Nexus push.
Yeah, bit of a longer one, but TSM still looking to maybe end the game. Death timers are long at this stage. Are they ignoring mid inhib? They are. They're going to go straight in for the win. Decisive TSM has never left.
Yep. Either they get the Nexus or, you know, what else happens after that?
And that looks like it's going to be the Nexus.
There they
Turret
go.
will shred. Santorin cannot defend. And TSM will claim game number 1 once again.
powerful statement there from TSM. Taking the risks. There were a lot of things in there where they lose the team fight. Got the Baron. They made the best of that situation because if you don't get that Baron then, immediately NRG will back off. They will go to the Baron. And that was a 5,000 gold lead between the teams for TSM. But if they didn't have Baron, it almost would have been even because that gold would have gone over to NRG. If they didn't do the Baron, it may have been about a 3,000 gold lead. So these are the small things that add up, but there's those big plays too, like the never move, like the double lift entering the back line, and also the Baron call. I think that's really cool. And Quas didn't follow them, which is a little odd, but...
So in the middle of that game, NRG just kind of had some great moments, you know? They managed to sort of get that on down and kind of look things good. It wasn't enough towards the end of it, but NRG definitely made a good mid-game out of what the comp they had.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that it's hard to actually catch people out and force the issue when you have this comp. So when you're ahead, you need to siege, but they were never really ahead, so they were sieging from behind. And then at that point, you have to wait for the other team to engage on you, which they ended up doing, but TSM really only did it when they had superior numbers.
Yeah, well, let's break it a bit. Let's break it down a little bit more. So we're going to go back with Dash and the analyst for more on that game one.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. TSM, another statement victory for them against NRG. Not to say that they didn't have a few issues here and there throughout the game, and NRG did put up a fight, but once again, TSM looking mighty dominant in the summer split so far.
The highlight for me was when they lost that fight in mid lane and immediately their response is to just go to Baron. Something that NRG's probably just hyped off of winning that fight. Like, we finally did it, we're getting an inhibitor. Oh, wait, we actually are still losing, we lost Baron.
Right, one of those trades that almost is advantageous for TSM, especially when it's your mid inhib. It's very easy to just take that Baron buff and run right back down the mid lane.
Especially since you're already ahead in that game, it's not like you're that scared of pushing that mid wave up. If they're behind, they make that trade, they're still probably going to get pushed in, but because they're ahead, they are able to push that mid wave in. They eventually, I think, go topside and get into another fight. So
yeah, smart play all around by TSM. I do want to start in that early game. The big thing that I noticed over and over and over again with TSM this split is how much more empowered Bjergsen is to have pressure in his mid lane and how that unlocks Svenskeren to make invades like this very early on, denying Santorin his first red buff of the game.
The really cool thing about a play like this is that not only does it obviously put Santorin behind, but it basically renders him useless for the rest of the minute that he's jungling, because TSM will now know exactly what his jungle route are, and all the laners are able to play accordingly. And they do this every single time on the invades, and it's just really enjoyable to watch because it's not just Svenskeren having the timing, it's all of TSM's lanes understanding when they're going to go in, when they're going to pressure, and getting a huge bonus out of it.
yeah, and these two bot plays, he has a nice TP in there, Bjergsen I'm talking about, to get into the fight. Like, pretty much insta-pops GBM after early gank here. Double gets a nice culling onto him. And
as this play rolls out, we are going to welcome the audience coming from the Apex and C9 game, where C9 comes out victorious in the first game of the series. Sorry to cut you off.
that's okay, James.
I know. But now, if you want to close out your point just about Bjergsen being unlocked to roam.
Yeah, he was constantly in the bot side jungle, in the bot lane, making TP plays and roaming to get his bot lane ahead, who were already winning as well. I think they have a lot of pressure just in general between those two lanes in the bot side, and they were able to capitalize that to basically grab, I think it was like a 3K gold lead at 9 minutes.
9 minutes, 2K gold lead.
2K, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's massive, right?
Yeah.
2K goal lead, 9 minutes. TSM is in a very comfortable position at that point. We jump ahead to 13 minutes into the game. A 3 for 2 in favor of TSM in the top lane. Everyone got involved in this very extended fight.
This is actually going to be a Bjergsen turnaround kill.
This is different.
This is another just example of Bjergsen just taking over.
Rice. This is Rice.
Yeah. No, it's Bjergsen taking over. It's not Rise. But yeah, there he picks up a kill in a situation where you think he's in trouble, and it's just like one of those things that's amazing to see. We see Oki will come in here and help
Extended
turn
fight,
this back.
NRG will get one back on Bjergsen,
Right.
but still, the power of Rice.
Well, the big thing about this play is that if you're looking at the mini-map, TSM's bot lane is completely oblivious to all this, and they're just like, we're just going to actually play the game that we know how to play. Just take 2 turrets for that, and they come out with a big turret lead and gold lead that is even more massive, which just proved towards the end of the game and mid-game how NRG was just so focused on the team fighting and kills, which they were unable to perform properly, but TSM just kept one step ahead with the macro game, and that's how they have been against almost all their opponents.
Right, the replay that we didn't get to see, 13 minutes in the top lane, was 3 for 2. On the back end of that, we see TSM with a 5K gold lead at around 14-minute mark. So that seems astronomical. Most of the time you see that kind of lead, you say, well, this game's going to be over soon. So credit to NRG, where they did actually extend the game quite well. We saw Quas put up a decent performance performance on that Vladimir, showing some fancy footwork, even in a 1v1 against Bjergsen in the bot lane. And, at that point, when we get to this stage of the game, there was some fear about the late game prowess of NRG's team composition, how they might be able to take this game with some solid Twitch ultimates.
Right. I mean, the team comps are actually pretty interesting where TSM is a really low-range team. They have to get into this Twitch and Anivia to do anything, but at the same time, NRG's comp lacks any serious front line that's going to, like, lock down these people running at them.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, just exactly how does the team fight start? Because once if they get onto them, it's over. If they don't get onto them, it's over the other way. So it was kind of one of those situations. Here we just have Quast running in circles, barely staying alive, gets the last key off. Soraka, 970 burst healing. You saw it pop up, and then GBM's like, "Oh, I guess I'll show up and help."
That was a Warmog's Vladimir at the time. But
Quast built full tank the whole game.
Warmogs.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, then
no,
I love it.
I'm not loving it.
I love it. As a guy, as someone who plays Vladimir a lot, I absolutely love that he built that. Yeah, Banshee's on top of all of it, getting all of his AP from his health and that utilizing that passive. Either way, that was more of a fun replay to kind of show the scaling capability and that fun 1v1 between the two. At the end of the day, though, TSM does come out on top of it all. The player of the game in that series is going to be Bjergsen, 5, 3, and 8 on that rise on your screen now as we speak. For him, a lot of it was the fact that he was so active and a part of that early game in building that 5K gold lead at 13.
Well, I love the evolution of TSM, where before it's to port all the resources onto Bjergsen, and now it's Bjergsen. How can I help my teams? How can I spill my advantage into the jungle, into the bot lane, into top? And we've seen that throughout all their series. People are trying to help each other out instead of having their team come to them, and that's really a really good sense of how to play a team game.
Right, I think that's the most impressive thing to me. When Honster has the lead, he's going mid. When bot lane has the lead, they're going mid. When mid has the lead, he's going bottom, and they're always connected. And we saw that top lane fight that we didn't get the replay of. TSM's bot lane is just bot lane.
They're
actually a long fight top lane. They just run all the way across the map to join in because they're all just, hey, if we can get there in time to contribute, let's go.
All right, well, that does it for game one of the TSM and NRG series. TSM obviously victorious once again. They do have a little bit more time to gear up for game two. We'll see if NRG can run it back, extend it to a game three. Time now, though, for us to switch gears, talk about this C9 victory over Apex in roughly 39 minutes. This one, again, we have high expectations for the Cloud9 roster as they continue to swap their support in and out. Smoothie playing this one. Very solid victory for them. We did, of course, see Apex make a few moves to try and stick into it, but it almost seemed like C9 had control across the board for the majority of this game.
Right. I mean, early on, we saw that Apex went to go pressure a wave top to try and get on the Shen, but what Cloud9 did to counter was go Dragon. And I think what Apex was thinking with Rek'Sai ult and having the Rumble push the wave and the Shen wouldn't want to join, and maybe they can contest the Dragon. But when they go down there, all they do is Shrimp goes for a steal, and they get turned on, they give up a kill, and their top play is successful, their bot contest isn't successful, and they start kind of falling behind from there.
And we've seen this happen a lot of times to Shrimp, that he keeps tunneling on the steal instead of focusing on the play around the objective, and the team is left fighting a 4v5 after all these when they're behind the tempo. Instead of looking for just continuously trading objectives, they keep kind of trying to come back in what they've lost already, and that's never going to work.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at some of that early game action. 13 minutes into the game around the blue buff. C9 gonna come out on top of this one, 4 for 1 in kills.
Yeah, they initially try and get a pick on the Meteos, they flash out, and then here's where you kind of see C9's comp. They have really strong chase down with Sivir, Karma, not Sivir, Karma, Sivir TF, and they're able to collapse on things. So after that initial pick fails, the rest of C9 just shows up out of nowhere. They also have the Shen for another global, and Apex just caught out position in the enemy jungle.
A big thing about that fight is that when the chase started, Apollo was a tri-brush in his own lane. He's just barely walking up there, and Apex is not really being very mindful of where the team is, and you see the beginning of the fight be a 3v5 for about 10 seconds, and there's no champions that you could have in your arsenal that are going to allow you to win that fight and let your AD carry catch up. So, being content with getting chunk is good. Is a very good thing. You got a flash, you got a chunk. Now is the time to maybe we can dive middle, maybe we can pressure bottom. Jungler's disabled for like 30 seconds. Maybe we can do something with that. So a little bit more patience and presence of mind is what I'd suggest for Apex.
Yeah, seeing red and going for it. That's what they were doing. Now, of course, that did set C9 up to a nice early lead, but the game really broke away for them at that 28-ish minute mark. Cloud9 is going to pick up an ace after finishing off the Baron here. Of course, Shrimp, again, he's going in for that objective, doesn't quite get it. I'm going to pay dearly for it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's a 5v4 with the rest of your team running away. And like we mentioned before, the chase down of this team is incredible. So they're going to have Jensen poured in behind to cut off the escape. Meteos is off on the side, living forever with his ultimate. And the rest of Apex is just getting cleaned up. They're able to pick up a couple kills, but it's not nearly enough at this point in the game.
All right, well, that's going to move us to our player of the game for this series as the rest of this replay rolls out. Sneaky's going to snag it 8-0-12 on Sivir, 100% kill participation. Wow. So I get, that's go figure.
It does, a global composition with Shen and TF, you're expecting all the plays to come to the bot side. So
very much so.
Very well executed by having that kill participation.
Yeah, so it speaks to them playing their comp the way it should be played if he does have that 100% kill participation. And one final note, surprise, surprise, game 2, Bunny Fufu coming back in. So once again, Cloud9 continuing with the support swap. More informational than anything, but given the fact that we are moving into this game 2, I actually want to ask you guys from Apex's side, how do you attack this C9 roster, especially given the fact that once again you're thrown in this wrench here at the last second. Now you've got to deal with a changing bot lane as well.
For me, I don't think the changing bot lane's too much to worry about. They have somewhat similar champ pools, and they have different strengths and weaknesses. We've heard Smoothie's a little stronger in lane, but I think the thing for me, if I'm Apex, is looking at now that we're red side, can we get Ray on something better? They tried to counterpick the Shen with the Rumble, but Rumble's okay. You see it a little bit in Korea, but I don't think it's exactly like the take over the game kind of top lane carry that we're used to seeing him on.
Where's the Fizz at?
Yeah, like a Fizz or something. So I think maybe going with a counter pick on red side that actually can snowball more on its own than as a team fighting carry.
All right, well, we're going to head to a break while our teams reset for Game 2. Stick around for TSM versus NRG on NALCS1 and Cloud9 against Apex over on NALCS2. We'll be right back in 3.5.
It's kind of funny, we have two very different double AP comps. Lots of lockdown, lots of sustained damage on the TSM side, and a lot of awesome on the NRG side. Sven, gonna look for it, finds the Unburrow. Firefrost with a great tag there on the first one. He gets blown off at the start. Now Haunter moving in onto Oku, but he snipes Sven Scarron. Bjergsen knows he has to keep fighting. Q's are gonna land in. Another Sanguine pull out of Quas. Now dancing back into the minion wave of Bjergsen. Eventually gonna get him. They're healing. Quas
GBM's here.
Moving, and GBM has finally arrived. Bjergsen gonna get himself started. Quas gets the kill.
Oh, nice never move. Here comes Double It.
Nice there for the triple. Now Double It to the backline. Blows up Oku. Now gonna chase forward. Collings down. Looks for Oku, but it's not going to get it.
TPing, I'm TPing. I'm going to Swaka. Finish it, Nivea. Okay, go. I'm on Twitch. Yeah, go Twitch. Go blind. Just end. Fuck this guy. Just go top, guys. Okay, end from top.
And TSM will claim game number 1 once again.